different, everybody. This is Cetine.
And this is Rob. Hi.
Hello, Rob.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good as every week that I say I'm good. It's just what people say when people ask them how they're doing, right?
But you can be honest with me.
I'm alright.
Yeah, I'm alright as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think listening to a little bit of RuPaul music before we started this podcast kind of pepped me up.
That was good. And also, and I hate, I was bummed that we took a week off, but I definitely needed that, I think.
I needed a break too, just for a week.
Yeah.
Sort some shit out.
Yeah, last week was
Well, you're super busy.
Yeah, well, I was busy, but like, not just busy, but also just feeling a little, I feel like I live in a sort of busy state, but I was just a little overwhelmed and kind of bummed about it, to the point where I was like, I didn't really want to do much else. So,
yeah,
I felt
mine's
kind of bad.
Kind of the opposite, where I don't do anything and then I get so fucking lazy that I just don't want to do anything. I'm just so like a bug.
That's like all I want, which, I mean, at least with this...
You don't. Trust me, you don't.
Well, at least like with this 3-day weekend, yesterday I kind of sat and just played video games for like 8 hours. And
wow,
Todd,
that is a full-time job.
Yeah, and Todd actually even said, he was like, he said to me, he's like, I know you work really hard, and I'm actually happy that you're able to just sort of like completely just shut off and just, do this. Because I think my phone was on silent all day, I wasn't wearing my watch, like it was just kind of like alright, like we are doing as much of a disconnect as I can possibly do.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We all need our break. We need time, you know? And especially since you don't get much time to yourself, it's good to like have some vegging moments or where you come comatose. So, yeah. Well, good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, I haven't been doing much either. I mean, yeah.
Come on, there's gotta be something new.
Well,
what's happening with you?
This weekend I did makeup for a friend. She performed in a show with I wrote the names down with Jane Fonda, Wanda Sykes, Dylan McDermott, Sherry Terry, and the list goes on. And it's the Vagina Monologues.
Oh, nice.
So she was one of the trans performers, and she had me do her makeup, and I got some really cute Getty images out of it, and yeah, I did that, made some money, and Valentine's Day happened.
Valentine's Day did happen.
How did it go for you, since you are a pitched woman? I
worked until, I think, 9 or 9:30.
That's romantic.
Yes, and on the way home, I called Todd, and I was like, hey, do you want to go to, like, Swingers? Because, like, that's our sort of all-night diner that we go to a lot. That's pretty close to our apartment. It's not super romantic, but it's very us.
That's where we had our first meeting before we started this podcast.
Yes.
We had our first date at Swingers.
And so I called him. I was like, hey, you want to go Swingers? And he was like, sure. And then like 2 seconds later, he calls me back and he's like, actually, I don't want to leave the house. Do you just want to grab like Chipotle? So like Todd and I ate Chipotle and watched.
You're so romantic.
I know. And we watched. God, I don't remember what we watched. Like we watched an episode, like one episode of something. So yeah, we were living large on Valentine's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I did. I stepped up a little bit higher than you did. Just a little bit though. Steven came home and ordered pizza.
Nice.
But not the heart-shaped one, because that's just weird.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird. And we had wine. And I think we may have had champagne too, I can't remember. But yeah, and we watched like 3 episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 3 trying to catch me up.
Nice.
Because I hadn't caught up on the new season yet, and I'm kind of obsessed with that show. Even though last season didn't really do it for me, and you don't watch it, do you?
I don't watch it regularly. Whenever I catch it, if I sit down while Todd has it on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But it's not a show that I go out of my way to watch typically, and I feel bad. I didn't even really watch Todd's season with any regularity at all.
It was good.
Like, it's like the first episode of Drag Race I ever saw was actually here in your apartment, the season finale of season 3.
Oh, did we have a party? Oh,
yeah.
I had a party. That's right. We had all those people over.
Because you had viewing parties every week.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I didn't really know anything about the show except Travis told me that he loved it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, oh, you should come over. and like you should come over for like the finale and watch it, and like I think that might have been almost when I met you.
I was gonna say, is that when I first met you?
Yeah, that might have been the first time I met you even, like, and it was right there while watching Raja win.
You know what? RuPaul brings everybody together.
RuPaul does.
Can everybody say love? Can I get an amen in here?
Well, and like my number one quote from RuPaul's Drag Race developed that night, because it was for the when they were shooting the music video for Champion, and they're like, all right, cut, everyone, we're going to the next setup, and Raja took like a step and like wobbled, and Raja had such a deep voice, and he just goes, I almost fell. Like, it was so weird, because it was just like, everyone was like, oh, this is so fun, and like, time for the next setup, and Raja just out of nowhere, no one asked him, just goes, I almost fell. It's like, if you hadn't said anything, I don't think anyone would have noticed. But it's just, it's very...
Little things like that make it
a
gem.
Nice. Well, it's like, we didn't do anything for Valentine's, but we did do something the previous weekend for my birthday. Because this little miss here was out of town. Boo.
I needed to get out of the city.
Nah, I don't blame you. But yeah, so my birthday was last weekend, and it was good. It was, it was a big one. It was the big 3-5, which I was...
Happy birthday, Rob. I have nothing for you.
It's
but
okay.
You can have whatever you want in this room.
It's okay.
I'm the worst.
But yeah, I wasn't totally ready. I don't think emotionally, I typically don't care when I get older. It's kind of whatever. It's just, it's all happening to all of us. But 35 felt like a big one.
It's when your skin starts to fall apart.
No, because I don't have any real sort of regimen to speak of.
You dry out.
I need to start going to Kiehl's now, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the birthday, it was on a Sunday, and on the actual birthday, kept it pretty low key. Woke up, I wanted tacos, so Todd and I went to the best fish tacos of Ensenada in Los Feliz, which is amazing, by the way. If you're in LA, go get them. So we got tacos, and then went home and just sort of laid around, and then for dinner I wanted Italian, so we went and got that. It was basically a day where I just kind of let food dictate what I wanted, or what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Totally.
So,
that's cool. That sounds like, food is the way to a man's heart, so.
Yeah. And then on Saturday, the day before my birthday, I actually threw an impromptu gathering in our apartment.
I know.
Which
I really wish I hadn't missed that. All those boys in there.
It was fun.
Who are those people in your apartment?
And I gave people 6.5 hours notice. It was a Cloverfield paradox level of preparation for people before they were able to actually show up. And so pretty good turnout. Considering that I sent out a text at 1 saying, hey, there's a gathering at 7 if you want to be there. So it was good. Yeah, it was just a small gathering of friends.
Did all my boys show up?
All of your boys did show up.
Hey, boys.
And we played some Jackbox. We started playing Hidden Agenda, but unfortunately Hidden Agenda is a game that does seem like it needs to be... It is good in a group, but we have too many people for it. And also, it's not a game you can sort of, stop and pick up. It's meant to be played, an hour and a half at once. Yeah. So it needs to be, a dedicated night. But it was fun. It was...
How many people showed up?
Probably...
15?
Yeah, I was saying between 14 and 16, somewhere in there.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty good turnout. Yeah, it was good. And and yeah, so that was fun. And also, speaking of Cloverfield Paradox, Todd and I watched the Cloverfield Paradox.
And I hear mixed reviews.
It wasn't great.
I didn't see it.
It's not great.
I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it feels like it's a TV movie. A made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, I do think that if this movie had been released in theaters, it might have been the end of the Cloverfield series. But now I think that they've found a sort of new home for it on Netflix. It might have sort of taken on a new sort of realm of production value and release. Because it's funny, even the original movie that was shot on video should feel smaller, I would think, than this new one does, but it doesn't. The new one has bigger and better special effects, and it looks more, the whole thing is 4K HDR, it looks really nice. but like in Cloverfield, the original was actually shot on 1080 digital video. Like the movie's meant to look like that.
Yeah.
But there's something about Cloverfield that felt so big. It could just be them running around in the city that did it. But I don't know. Like I feel like the first two are so excellent at what they do, and this new one kind of like stepped in sci-fi, and it was just like, oh, we stepped in sci-fi.
I see. It's no longer a horror flick.
Yeah, well, it has this horror element, but it's still a very sort of
very
PG.
Stranger Things
It's
situation.
It's a PG-13 horror, and I don't know. I feel like just between Alien and even to a lesser extent Life, like I feel like space station horror could be so visceral and horrifying, and this kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was fine. I mean, like, it's worth the price we paid to see it, which is like nothing because we had Netflix anyway. So
free is good when the movie sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, it was fine. It was a fine way to spend like roughly 2 hours. But
you didn't watch that at your party.
No. We watched that right before. Or like the day before.
That would have been depressing.
Yeah. So anyway, watch the Cloverfield Paradox. I had a couple of things I've been up to. Anything else new and fabulous in your world?
I did forget to mention, because I forgot how long it's been since we recorded, over your birthday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I went up north to visit my dad, and then I went even further north to visit Travis and Crystal in Santa Cruz, and we had a fun time. We went out one night to a bar, and we had some really good food. I got to see my nieces, the babies, 2 dogs. They're not real babies.
They're better.
Ew.
They're better than babies.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just really nice to like hang out with them. So, and then I left really early the next morning and had dinner with my dad, and so yeah, it was really cute.
Well, I saw your Instagram post, and I saw like Santa Cruz, and I was like, that's so weird. I thought you were going to Fresno. So yeah, so I was surprised. That's awesome. That's kind of cool, just to be like, fuck it, we're going further north.
Yeah, and the trip from LA to Fresno, well, it is longer, but it seems a lot longer than the trip from Fresno to Santa Cruz, because there's so much more to see on the way over. Like, there's mountains and there's, foliage and shit. And here to Fresno is just flatlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to see.
And cow poop.
Oh, yeah, and cow poop.
Yeah.
What's that?
So, curious, have you seen Black Panther yet?
I have not.
Yeah, okay, so it seems like you see the DC movies, like, real fast, but the Marvels you tend to wait on.
I do want to see this one really badly, though, and I almost went with Stephen Lee. I just don't, I hate going opening weekends.
Oh, this was a good opening weekend to go.
Why?
Because the crowd was so excited about it. Todd and I saw it last night.
They'll be excited next weekend, too.
But, like,
and all through this week when I'm going to see it.
Well, like, there was something very special, I mean, like, about this movie, just because it does feel like it is serving a sort of underserved community, and just that it is a movie that is like almost entirely cast with Black people, and like it is just it seems like so often mainstream superhero movies, they sort of assume that like people aren't interested in seeing a Black hero or
Black
something.
People and Andy Serkis.
Yeah, and Martin Freeman, he was in it too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like it's really it's a first off, it's a great movie.
I hear only the best reviews.
It's really good, and then but on top of that, it was fascinating. Even just like going to the ArcLight, like I saw more diversity in that theater than I think I've seen in any movie theater. Just because like everyone was there.
Yeah.
And like obviously, I think this was. I mean, it smashed a ton of records this weekend.
Yeah.
Like it set new records for February openings. It's the 5th highest opening of all time. Like this movie really kind of like got a lot of people very excited, and my theater was like very vocal and very like cheery, and like it was very, very cool. Like there was a group of people that were like coming in singing.
Oh wow.
Like they were singing like traditional African songs as they like walked into the theater. And like, and a lot of people were wearing like traditional garb and stuff.
That's because Steven, he went and saw it, and he was ready to go again the next day and take me, and I was like, I just don't want to deal with the Grove.
But I know multiple.
Hate the Grove.
Well, it's like we did the ArcLight, which is a little bit more tolerable than the Grove.
Yeah.
We also saw it at like 9 o'clock on a Sunday, so we were kind of hoping that would like reduce the amount of kids in it, which it did. but it was still a really like pretty packed house and full of like just a lot of like-minded people that really wanted to see this movie. And
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I do want to see it.
It was a great experience.
And I hear it touches upon a lot of social issues that a lot of movies have just kind of neglected. Yeah. I mean, I have questions, but obviously you won't be able to answer them, so because I have to see it.
Yeah,
and we still won't be able to talk about it until like next year because that's not fair to anybody.
We are pretty good about not doing spoilers. I think we should probably institute a thing of like a month or something.
Or maybe when it hits video.
Yeah, which is getting faster and faster. It's usually like a 4-month turnaround now. But anyway, yeah, it's Black Panther's great, and a lot of people I know actually saw it twice this weekend.
Already.
Okay. Like even a friend of mine who
maybe I'll go tomorrow.
Like well, I think we talked about him before. Alfredo, friend of ours.
Hi Alfredo.
He was saying the last movie he's seen twice in theaters, he thinks was The Matrix.
Not Muppet Treasure Island.
The last movie he saw twice in theaters was The Matrix. The Matrix came out after Muppet Treasure Island, so that.
I guess it did by 2 years.
Yeah, and so, but he saw Black Panther twice this weekend, but it's funny, I got to talk to him a little bit about it, because we also, like, this weekend I went to the gym for the first time in a while, because last week was extremely frustrating, and I felt like I needed to hit something, and he was like, let's go back, because he goes to a Muay Thai training gym, and so,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, on weekends they do, like, open to
Bring a friend.
Yeah, bring a friend classes, and so I went on Sunday for beginner Muay Thai training, like kickboxing and stuff.
I've always wanted to kickbox. I have a really long reach. I think I'd be really good at it.
Seriously, like your legs are very, very long.
There's this really great movie called Beautiful Boxer, and it's a Thai film, and it's about, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name because there's no fucking way to pronounce it correctly. It's about this woman who is a professional kickboxer. It's a true story, but she was born a boy, and she kickboxed to raise money in order to get her sex change. Whatever.
Gender confirmation.
I'm so old school, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, actually, I'm familiar with the name and the story, but I've not seen that movie.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh, you could borrow it.
Oh, okay.
I have it.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone watching the YouTube video sees me kind of struggling to shift my body around, it's because I'm very sore.
He aches.
I do, and it's so funny. My goal was to start going to the gym more. Now that like my hernia is fixed and now that my eyes are fixed, and I was just gonna start taking better care of myself. And my goal was to go to the gym and see how long I could go without talking about it. Just because I feel like everybody who goes to the gym is always like, oh, the gym.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm getting yoked. Oh, I'd love to come to your party.
Ew, that's a gross word.
Yeah, I'd love to come to your party, but I have to go to the gym that night. Like, people who work out love to talk about how much they work out.
Those gym bunnies, especially in West Hollywood.
And so, like, unfortunately, today's more of an excuse just because I'm very uncomfortable. Yeah, it'd be nice to get back in there more regularly and then not talk about it.
You're so yoked.
I'm so yoked right now.
Yeah, you're like oozing.
Yeah, I'm like super pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other words as well.
So buttery. Oh wait, that doesn't work.
I am buttery, aren't I? Trying to think what else is happening. Watched a few more episodes of Altered Carbon. Still enjoying that show.
Okay, I have to see that still.
I made Todd watch The Triplets of Belleville. Have you seen that movie?
No, but I really want. I love those animations.
Okay, well, if it's not on Netflix or something, let me know and I'll bring in the...
Wait, maybe I have seen The Triplets. No, I haven't.
Because, like, Todd bought it for me for my birthday because it was on my Amazon wish list, so... I was really excited about that. I didn't realize it's an Amazon pressed disc. It's a disc on demand.
Huh.
Like, Sony didn't release it on Blu-ray.
Oh, so how do they get the rights to do that?
Well, like, a lot of times, even, like, I think Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 1 has the same sort of thing, where, like, whoever owns the content will give exclusive manufacturing rights to Amazon, and when people order it, they'll get, like, a professionally printed style insert, a case, and then the discs are, like, white with, like a laser printer kind of thing on there and a barcode, and the underside looks a little weird because it's a recorded thing. But like when you order it, they burn it and they put it in a disc, wrap it in plastic, and send it to you. So it's manufacturing on demand. And Amazon did that for a couple things, like the MTV's The Max, MTV's The Head, like a lot of niche television titles that don't really have a full audience like of a size that it's worth mass producing and selling to Walmart. And so, but yeah, Tributes to Belleville is super fun. It's like an 80-minute movie. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature in like 2004 or something. And it's very, very, very French. It's nearly without dialogue. It's very, very strange, but it's awesome.
The guy who directed it, he has another movie that I wanted to see, and it's about a bunch of homeless people, and one of them's trans, and it's apparently very sad.
I have no idea.
I think it's by him. I'm looking it up. Like the God.
Because yeah, I mean, I love Tributes to Belleville.
I swear it's the same. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the same artist.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to look into it, but apparently it's very good also, and very moving and very sad. So I want to see that. Speaking of very sad, I saw a very sad movie.
Yay!
Yeah. It's called BPM, which stands for Beats Per Minute. And
I see that soundtrack in Amoeba all the time.
Oh, get it.
Yeah?
You would love it.
So
yeah.
Tell me more about this BPM.
So it's a French film, and it takes place in 1990 France, and it's about the kind of the turning point of activism for AIDS rights, and ACT UP is like the main focus. So it's like the French, what's it called when you're part of like this group that's in another country, the French chapter?
Sure.
Whatever. So anyway, because it's ACT UP, for those of you who don't know, it started in New York, and it's basically a guerrilla tactics, very in-your-face kind of way to basically change the way the medical industry kind of brought out the drugs for AIDS victims. And they were really fighting for their lives, obviously, so they were really hardcore about what they did. So they'd throw like bags of fake blood, and they would go and storm into like businesses, and they would do like their little acts and things like that. And so anyway, this film is about it, and in particular it's about one group of, or two guys basically, who kind of fall in love with each other, and it's a very sad story, and it's a very beautiful story, and it's kind of what you would expect from a film that's about that subject, about ACT UP, about that time in the 90s. Yeah. But it's really good, and like you said, the soundtrack is amazing.
How do you see it? What
It's, oh shit.
Is it on Netflix or Amazon, or?
Yeah, we rented it on, I think, Amazon.
Okay, so it's like a pay rental though.
It's a pay rental. Okay. It's like $3.99, I think.
Well, yeah, rentals are so cheap, especially given that everything else tends to be free.
Totally worth it. It's 2.5 hours. Beautiful film. Nice. And of course, it's in French, so it's subtitled, so.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah. I also have a new show that I've been enjoying, just like, because like I need to get through Altered Carbon, and I need to start my next assignment, which is Battlestar Galactica, because I've never seen it.
Oh my goodness, you're in for a treat, Rob.
That's my next personal assignment I'm giving myself. But like, my new sort of like I'm looking at shit on my phone, and like I'm not ready to go to bed just yet show on Netflix, The Great British Bake Off. Have you watched that show?
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's so good.
They're so simple. It's like real people.
Yeah, well, and like they're super likable, and then but the best thing is like there's no drama. Like these people don't hate each other. They just want to do their best. That's all. And like there's something like my favorite kind of reality series are like competition shows where you're just seeing people who are good at what they do being awesome at that. Like I love Top Chef. I love Project Runway.
You don't really get that in...
I love to see You Think You Can Dance. Oh. You know?
Yeah, you don't get that in a lot of American shows, though, because Americans love conflict.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, they want to play up that conflict so much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The story producers will make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
And
even if there's nothing there, the editors will do it for them.
And yeah, so, like, there's something really fun about the Great British Bake Off, because it's so quiet. Like, it's
soothing.
Yeah, they're very nice, and like, it's so funny. I'm not even a dessert guy. Like, most of the stuff they make, I'm like, nah, wouldn't want to eat that. Everything looks too sweet, and everything has too much fruit in it.
The thing
And
about
that's a very
British
thing.
pastries and things, they're not that sweet though.
But there's fruit in everything, and I don't want a cake with fruit in it, or jam. There's a lot of jam.
I even love fruitcake.
Yeah, I know. Like, I just want a cookie, like a good chocolate chip cookie, which I know you don't like, because you're a monster.
No, quite the opposite.
And like anything with peanut butter in it. Like,
oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I like some sweet things, but not that much. And so, yeah, it's been really fun. And it is hilarious, though, especially because it is British. There's so many things that they say where I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, even because, like...
slang.
Well, yeah, just even, what was it? They call baking soda bicarb, because it's bicarbonate. I think that's baking soda.
Baking soda, yeah.
Not baking powder. I think baking powder is just something else. But, like, also, they call it confectioner...
Soda bicarbonate.
It's like, and, like... confectioner sugar, that is technically just sugar, right? Confectioner sugar? I don't know.
I think it's like, it's milled differently, or
like,
different grains
is it?
or something, but I think it's just regular table sugar.
Yeah, and then like frosting sugar is powdered sugar. I think. I don't know, there's a lot, like, there was also an assignment recently where they had to make pita, and I was like, the fuck is that? It's pita bread. Pita. Like, I was like, oh, pita. As soon as they showed it to me, I got it. For a while, though, I just sat there and I was like, I don't know what you're making. It's fine.
The Countess Dowager will now make pita bread.
So, anyway, yeah, I've been enjoying the Great British Bake Off.
That's cool. It's a great show.
Seriously, and it is like a white noise machine. I'm just sort of sitting there like, yes.
Yeah.
And Paul Hollywood, kind of dreamy.
Candle.
And like a Tom Colicchio with silver hair kind of way. Good show. A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got one last thing that I've been up to hit, but I want to do it last. Do you have anything else that you've been up to?
No. Go for it.
All right. Well, I've been sort of mentally preparing myself and getting ready and packing and picking out an outfit and stuff because I wasn't sure where to put this, if it should go in the news thing or what, but this Thursday, which will be February 22nd, so it'll be the day after this episode comes out, I will be the voice of God for the DICE Awards. Yay!
I've seen the light.
So I'll post links via my Twitter and via the podcast Twitter.
Yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you should tune in Thursday. I want to say it's around 7. I need to confirm the actual time.
YouTube?
I believe they do stream on YouTube via a partner. Like, typically, like, in past years, they've streamed, I think, through Variety, like, Variety Magazine.
Yeah.
Their YouTube channel, I think, is where they hosted the live YouTube stream of it. But they do also tend to do it on Twitch. Like, it's a thing that you can see in multiple ways.
You can find it.
Yeah, and I will post a link to where you can see it. But yeah, so yeah, I did Voice of God 2 years ago. I had a blast. I didn't get to do it last year because I was unfortunately too busy with work. But I am very excited about doing this year, and I wanted to plug this earlier, except I wasn't sure that I was doing it. I wasn't confirmed or booked. And I think I was booked as of last week, and then we didn't record last week.
Yeah.
So sorry for the short notice, everybody, but the DICE Awards, I believe it's the 21st annual DICE Awards. And yeah, it's a great award show because it is voted on by other game developers.
People
and
in
stuff.
the industry.
Yeah, so it's voted on by peers. So it's, they often refer to it as sort of loosely as like the Academy Awards of video games, just because it is, their peers and industry leaders that get to vote on it. And so I actually feel it is an award show with a great amount of credibility.
Yeah.
And so I like being a part of that. Plus this year will be hosted by Jessica Chobot again, and Greg, whose name I don't know. I should learn it though, because I imagine I'm going to have to say it.
You probably will. Actually, I was texting with Jessica today, and I said, by the way, Rob's going to be your voice of God, so if you happen to cross paths, say hi.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing
Are you
it.
going to interview her again?
I don't think I'm doing any interviews this year. Well, I'll see her though. But yeah, Greg Miller is her co-host.
Greg Miller, that's right.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I just because all I'm doing is Voice of God, I will not be,
doing all that.
conducting any red carpet or post-show interviews, which will be kind of nice. I get to just do what I do.
Chillax. Yeah, and the party.
I'll chillax as much as I can.
And you can party.
Yes. I'll chillax as much as possible, given that I'm doing live voiceover.
Oh, you'll love it. That's this.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not live, but
there's
we could be.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically we are live. We're not going to edit this, but
Yeah,
there are also, you know, I don't want to minimize the impact of this podcast or our reach, but there's a little bit less at risk here. You know, the stakes are a little bit lower. I'm just saying.
According to whom?
Just me. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I feel like the stakes are just a touch lower.
Well, we try our best, honestly.
No, I'm not to diminish what we do or how excellent this turns out.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's it. Episode's over. Bye.
We are recording on that thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
Yeah.
All
eyes on us.
So, yeah.
It's gonna be funny if that pole to the light was in the middle of the freaking. No, I checked. You would see it.
Well, I just want to make sure it was actually recording.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. It has a little counter
That
at
would
the
just
top
be
there.
stupid.
Right? Well, now that I've caused a new level of paranoia, we have to check to make sure we're recording.
32 minutes in.
Okay, good. So we are recording.
Yeah.
All right. So
Hectic.
that's all the news. But yeah, please tune into the Dice Awards. I'll be there. It'll be fun.
I won't be there. It'll still be fun.
But you'll be there in spirit because I imagine you'll be watching.
I'll be watching. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch totally.
Good.
Because we'll have to report on all the winners next week.
Totally. Which yeah, I'm excited to actually find out who the winners are, and even just to show even how much even like my coworkers and I how much we love the Dice Awards. As soon as all the nominees got announced for the entire show, they like blocked off a section of the whiteboard for all of our guesses for what are going to be the winner for Game of the Year.
Game of the Year, yeah.
So.
What do you think it's going to be?
I think the winner is going to be Breath of the Wild.
That's what I think too. But what's first runner-up? In your mind?
I think it's a toss-up between PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, PUBG, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Because Horizon Zero Dawn, I believe, has the most nominations at this year's Dice Awards, and I do think if it won, I would feel it completely is warranted because that game is incredible. But Breath of the Wild is just, it's so good, and it's such a huge departure for the series that preceded it that it feels like this.
And it saved Nintendo.
It helped make the Switch one of the greatest system launches ever.
Yeah.
So I do feel like Breath of the Wild. I mean, as much as PUBG has made a sort of genre unto itself, and it keeps being this amazing pioneer in things. I think Breath of the Wild deserves it.
PUBG, I just can't even. Watching it is like watching paint dry. I'm like, but there's nobody around you. How are you supposed to see that person sniping you? Like, what the fuck?
Well,
just all of a sudden are running in a clear field with nothing around you and you die.
Like I said, you gotta watch my guys play. It's actually really fun. But because usually there's 3 of them in one room. They're all communicating clearly, so I have access to 3 different feeds that are all really exciting to me. And usually there's a 4th person in the other room that's on a conference call, conferenced in on a phone call. And so the 4 of them, they'll play during lunch and stuff. And so I get to see a really very thrilling thing, and especially when someone attacks them and picks one of them off.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how the other 3 react, and kind of go from there.
They killed our friend.
Totally. So, yeah, it's fun to watch, but if you're watching the right stream, which doesn't always happen. There is actually a thing that's kind of cool on Mixer, which is Microsoft's streaming platform that is a competitor to Twitch. Where they have a thing, I forgot what it's called, I want to say it might be called PUBG Hype Zone, where it pretty much always shows the last couple of minutes of a PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds match. And so like you're always catching like the very end, so it's extremely tense. The battlefield's really small, and you're seeing really great players go against each other.
Does it get small enough to be just one building you're stuck in?
I don't know how small it actually gets. It gets real small though, because it has.
You're playing Duck Duck Goose at the end.
It has to force a winner somehow, you know.
That would be funny if it got so small you just had to play Duck Duck Goose until somebody won.
Yeah, whoever gets knocked out of the ring, basically. So, all right. So yeah, anyway, that's what I've been up to.
Cool.
The long version.
Yeah.
What you playing?
What am I playing? I played a few things this week. OXENFREE.
Oh, did you? Excuse me. Did you finish it?
Did I make you choke?
A little bit. Yes, I forgot that you played OXENFREE. You texted me.
I did it in 2 sittings. It was so good.
Isn't it great?
I love the characters. I love the storyline. I did jump at one point.
The game has some legit creep factor going on.
And I
played
played it in the middle of the day.
No, like I played it in the middle of the day, and like that radio had some creepy shit attached to it, and like especially towards the end of the game.
There was a mirror scare that got me. Or some I don't. Yeah, there's things that pop up at some points, but
the soundtrack, it's so good.
And the soundtrack is amazing, and I love the way you can choose your comments and talk to each other.
And like when sometimes you can interrupt people, or if you just don't say anything, you just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like I love that silence is an option.
Yeah.
As you can guess,
sometimes
it's not an option I do much.
It's not an option I do much either, but sometimes I'm like checking my messages on my phone. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
What did they just say?
You gotta be present. You gotta be there. I'm so glad you finally played OXENFREE.
Yeah, OXENFREE is a really good 5-6 hour game.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to beat it?
I want to say it was like 4.
Okay.
Something like that.
So, I did go around trying to collect all the notes.
Which I don't know if I did that.
And I did most of the rocks for the radio frequencies. And yeah, it's just a very pretty, kind of cute, kind of like cartoony look to it, but it's kind of demonic.
But with good characters, great dialogue.
Yeah, so yeah, yay for OXENFREE.
Good, I'm glad you finally played it.
And it was literally like $2 when I bought it. So, and I think it's always on sale on PSN if anybody wants to go play it.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody who listens to this has already played it anyway.
Or on iOS, like on your phone or iPad. I think it's always under $5.
I don't like playing shit on my iPad.
Okay, I do feel like that game would work pretty well.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean, as somebody who is a console gamer, I prefer playing it on the TV with surround sound and the whole deal.
I like the experience of being engulfed.
Did you stream any of it, or did you just play it?
I streamed the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
I didn't get that many viewers on it though.
Well, it's less actiony, so it's a little bit more of a quiet experience. So I can see that being a thing where maybe
some people can just talk their way through even the quietest games, like. They just can't shut up, and I'm just like trying to get into it, so I tend to forget about the audience.
Well, a lot of times when I stream, I tend to want to just let the game do all the talking. Yeah. Like I want to show off the game. I don't want to talk over it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of ruin your own experience too when you do that.
Totally, because like I don't yammer when I'm playing games by myself.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. These people are everybody's a comic nowadays, so whoop-de-doo.
So what else have you been playing?
I played DISSIDIA.
How was that?
Woof. It's so chaotic.
It's beautiful though, right? I mean, like those games are always stunning. If you can tell what's happening.
I mean, I love the characters. Select screen. That's stunning. The opening graphics, like the film, is really good. You don't really know what's going on. And I definitely would have to put a lot of time in it to understand the controls and how to like talk to the characters and, you know, kind of, because it's quite different than a fighting game. So I don't know if I would be into it because there's just so much happening in such a small area, and it's such a, there's just things happening everywhere. It's like, where the fuck do I go?
Yeah, well,
who am I attacking? Why is that person say they're on my team? Why am I connected to this person and not that person? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I do feel like as I've gotten older, fighting games, a lot of fighting games are way too busy for me.
Well, see, if they would have made this game more like a 2D fighting game.
Oh, yeah, more like Mortal Kombat or Injustice 2 or something like that.
Yeah, Injustice or even Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter. Yeah,
or Capcom versus everyone.
Well, I always feel like Marvel vs. Capcom moves too fast for me, as does Dragon Ball Z. That fighter is just frantic.
Well, and they do have like those combos that can go on for a decade.
Yeah.
But I still think that would have been better than what they gave us.
Once I played the Dissidia demo on the PSP or the Vita. It was some sort of PlayStation handheld. I mean, this is years ago, and I remember being like, "Oh, okay, this is neat. Not for me, but it's neat."
Yeah, it's not for me, but
yeah, it has a massive amount of polish. Like they look so good. It's just there's a lot.
I think in the game though they don't look that great because
well,
everybody looks the same.
Well, I haven't seen much footage from this new one.
Yeah, but the characters are all cool characters like that we love from the games. So.
Yeah.
So I played as Sephiroth, of course.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And I played against Cloud because I mean you have to.
Yeah.
And I played as I'm gonna forget his name. I did forget, but he's from Final Fantasy Tactics, which was
I would never know.
Favorite Final Fantasy game. So, anyhow, yeah.
Nice.
That's that. Yeah.
Very nice. Are you playing anything else?
And the last thing I played was Metal Gear Survive.
How is that?
Beta. It's different. I'm not a huge fan of it so far. I think I could probably get into it. The graphics are cool. I like how you could choose your weapons and you kind of hit like power points or pressure points on the enemies to like get a hard attack. I've never played Metal Gear though, so I don't know what I'm comparing it to.
Well, I haven't seen any footage of Metal Gear Survive, but I do hear it is significantly different from.
Yeah, it's you kind of plant your little spheres in the ground or drills or whatever they are, and you kind of just keep off hordes of enemies, like attack waves.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's not that fun.
Well, I mean, because Metal Gear Solid is more of a it's a stealth game.
This is not stealth.
One thing is,
maybe it is, and I was just playing it wrong.
I know. I don't think it is. I mean, a lot of people are very, very suspect of this new game just because it's done without Kojima. So like the man who created it all, he's not involved.
Yeah.
And it does seem like it's a little bit of a, at least especially from what you're describing, and from my initial interpretation of things I'd read about it, it does seem like it's a different genre than it has been. And it almost feels like it should just be a different game, and they just slap this name on it because that's what Konami's known for at this point. Konami makes Metal Gear games.
I feel like it's kind of more reminiscent of a Fallout game. Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Had kind of like that Fallout vibe to me, but whatever. It didn't really strike me as something that I want to purchase.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you played it though, because I had no thoughts or opinions, because I didn't even know much about it.
Yeah.
So.
How about you?
In the last 2 weeks, I have started, right after our last podcast actually, I went home and I started playing the Shadow of the Colossus remake, like that night.
Okay.
And since then, I have finished Shadow of the Colossus 2018 remaster.
Very nice.
It is a remake, rather. It is fantastic. That was my 5th finished game of the year. Quick little impressions on that one. It's beautiful. Like, it is very, very impressive. They updated the control scheme a little bit to make it a little bit less weird. Okay. It's still not perfect. Like, the game still has its flaws. Like, and it is just... I mean, it's so weird. I feel like... I don't know if there's many other games out there that, like, have such baked-in quirks that a lot of people really hate. Yet it's still kind of unanimously heralded as like one of the greatest games ever made. Like, it's kind of fascinating that this game survives. It can't get out of its own way in a lot of ways, yet at the same time though everybody loves it. And so, especially again, this is like my 3rd time playing it, I knew what I was in for, and it was not a wildly different experience except that it looked stunning. So it was great to get back into that and play that game again. I was amazed at how many things I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
So,
I just remember open fields and seeing a beast in the distance.
that sounds
right
about right.
for it.
And so I did that, and then like on Valentine's Day, after me and Todd's big, Chipotle evening, I finished Assassin's Creed Origins DLC 1 called The Hidden Ones.
Yes.
I finished that. It is basically just more of the same of Assassin's Creed, which for me, totally
It's
great. It helps flesh out the sort of more of the tenets of the Brotherhood a little bit more, like in where they were founded. So that's kind of cool. It gives a little bit more backstory to the Assassin's Brotherhood at its foundational level.
Okay.
So for me being the 10th Assassin's Creed game I've played, it paid that off pretty well. So it was fun though. I had a good time with it. I'm really excited about the second DLC that comes out in March.
What's the Anubis?
Curse of the Pharaohs.
Curse of the Pharaohs.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that one. And then, so that was my 6th game that I finished this year. And then just last night, I finished game number 7. Which I can't believe I went in and did this one that fast again, but I started playing on Saturday and then finished on Sunday Bayonetta for the Switch.
Oh, wow.
Which I haven't played Bayonetta since it
1 or 2?
Which I haven't played Bayonetta 1 since it came out on the 360, what feels like 1,000 years ago now. So I got to play it again, because I bought Bayonetta 2, the physical version.
It's so cheesy.
It's so good though. Like,
it's so good.
But like, I bought Bayonetta 2 for the Switch, and it came with a download code for Bayonetta 1. And so I installed that, and because I want Todd to play them.
Oh, he'll love them.
And
it's like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Totally, she is basically a drag queen.
Yeah.
And so it was every little bit as campy and ridiculous and over the top as I remember it being. There's some sequences where I'm like, oh yeah, that's not very good. But like the game itself,
and it drags on sometimes. I'm like,
yeah,
you could have shortened this.
But as an action title, the action is near perfect. And actually, because I already did the game in normal difficulty mode back in the day, I just wanted to experience it again and kind of go through it. So I put it on easy mode, not very easy mode, but easy.
And it gives you the whole game?
Pretty much. Like, you get to experience the whole story. It's not like they hold anything back if you don't do normal, but like, it makes all your combos super automated, and you look like a badass, which is really fun. And so, I have no shame in playing through the game in easy mode, because I already did it once the normal way, and it was fun. And this new way was fun, because I got to like laugh and enjoy everything that this game does, just without beating myself up about it, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites, too.
But yeah, so like that's what I've been up to. I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next, because I'm guessing the next game I'm either gonna play is either gonna be Bayonetta 2 for the Switch. So I'll play that again.
Some of her summons that she has such good ones.
Well, like she has like the bird,
the Witchfoot.
Oh, the Wicked Weave, yeah, both the fist and the foot. Oh, we have to talk about the special stuff though, because it's on Switch. There are Nintendo costumes. What? So, and it changes the movesets, which are crazy. So like, if you play as her Princess Peach outfit or her Princess Daisy outfit, instead of dropping halos, all the enemies drop coins, and when you pick them up, it makes the coin sound. And instead of the Wicked Weave, which is, like the hare foot or the hare fist, it is a giant Bowser foot or Bowser fist. And so that's cool. Also, they have a look that is
that's pretty dope,
where she dresses like Link and has a sword and a shield. And I didn't actually do that one. I'm kind of curious about how her moveset changes on that one, because I never actually played as that one.
I think Ganon's foot goes.
I'm kind of curious what it summons, or if it summons, because that's the first Nintendo costume I want to try out was Samus.
Oh,
which there's a Samus power armor.
How many are there?
4. And so, first one I did was Samus, and with that one, instead of doing the Wicked Weave summon with the foot or the fist, you actually do more flourishes and additional stuff with your guns because of arm cannons. And so, like, Samus, makes sense that Samus wouldn't have the Wicked Weave, but Samus would have extra firepower. And so, I'm kind of curious what the Link outfit would do, which I forgot to try before I finished the game. But yeah, like the Nintendo stuff, like it's awesome that they threw like some extra sort of like nods to Nintendo
so cool.
in there. And so that was fun. But yeah, so next up, I'm either gonna do Bayonetta 2 on the Switch, or I'm actually even doing Dead Space 2 now. I think it might be time.
Yeesh.
I don't know if I have the nerves for it, but I'd like to give it a go. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else on the gamey front. I have two other little quick things that I guess I can stuff into the what are you playing section. Backward compatibility update for anyone out there who has an Xbox One X or Xbox One, excuse me. The original Prey from back in the day is up, which is not to be confused with the new Prey, which is a completely different storyline. But the original Prey is up, as is Mafia 2, which I think a lot of people liked, which is why people were excited about Mafia 3 when it came out.
Nice.
And then lastly, this thing I was going to play, but I feel like I dodged a bullet by actually waiting and reading some reviews. Apparently, the Secret of Mana remake, I hear is not very good, which bummed me out.
Do?
Well, like they overhauled the entire game. Like, you know, the original was for the Super Nintendo, and it had these really great sprite graphics. And the new one is a very cutesy 3D polygon Japanese style. And that's all well and good, but apparently, like, they even changed it so in the original game you could only attack in the 4 cardinal directions. And in this new one you have 360 attacks, which actually seems like it should be better, but apparently it complicates the game or makes it like so collision is off or something. I don't know. It seems like all of these updates that I was actually really excited about for the game, everyone who's played the original is just like they took a classic and updated it to the point where it's not unrecognizable, but it's just not as good. Because like
weird.
I know a lot of people are bummed out even about the Shadow of the Colossus remake, just because it changes some things, like it changed the controls and it changed the way lighting looks. Like the original game was very bloom heavy and it kind of blew out a lot of stuff with light, and the new game doesn't do that as much. And so a lot of people
like it has that fog to it.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. And it lost the fog now because everything's so clear. And so everyone's like,
that was kind of like the atmosphere of the game.
But that misty quality was like the atmosphere, but I think it was also like a PS2 limitation thing. And so
I mean, I think it added to it.
Well, and I think a lot of people you can't really separate that from Shadow anymore for them. And so similarly, like a lot of people are upset about Shadow of the Colossus getting a little bit too much of a facelift. I liked it a lot, but like Secret of Mana apparently got an equally crazy facelift. And even just looking at footage, I'm like, it does not seem as endearing. And then also, like, so I was going to get it, and then I also realized, hello, it's on the SNES Classic that I have. I might as well just play the original. I totally just slipped my mind.
Same story.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that instead.
Good for you.
So that's the end of what I've been playing and plan on playing.
Yeah.
For the near future.
A lot of shit,
right? Piles of stuff.
I don't even know what game I'm on for my game count of the year. Guess I just never did it.
You should start keeping count. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I just keep a list. I keep a list on my phone. That way I don't really have to like number them myself. It just actually so I keep my list starting with oldest to newest, and then it tells me, oh, there's 7 of them.
Wow.
Easy.
Look at you, so organized.
Right? It's like the one thing in my life that's super organized right now. Anyway, so is it time for us to learn?
It is. It is time for the word of the week. That was different.
It was different.
Yeah.
What's up?
The word of the week is Boston.
Boston?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Bosdom.
Boston. Well, is that like the process or act of being like a boss? Like, is it showing like a great sense of control or direction over a situation?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it's a noun, and it's the status, influence, or power of a boss, especially a political boss.
All right, then. That one makes total sense.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Boston. It's like a kingdom, but it's a boss, not a king.
Yeah, we don't live in a monarchy.
No, we live in a bossarchy.
Laughing kind of hurts.
Whoa.
No.
Sorry.
That's okay. That was a good one. That's a good word of the week. Also, I like when I get them right.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Is it time for the final frontier.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So two things. I know we talked about it like 2 weeks ago. I ordered and it since arrived, and I've since Instagram storied it. The 7-inch soundtrack to Bayou Billy has arrived.
Ooh.
So that was fun. Never actually played that game, but you know.
Yeah.
I collect records like a monster. And then also, so this arrived from Data Discs, one of my favorite suppliers of video game soundtracks. The soundtrack to Streets of Rage 3,
Okay.
which, it's so funny, I thought I knew that soundtrack, but I don't think I do, because I started playing it, and it literally just sounds like a bunch of noise. Like, there was an article I just read, I think on like Kotaku or something, saying that like Streets of Rage 3 is kind of like what they feel to be a really great example of a video game soundtrack, because it pushes all these boundaries and really does something so unique and different. I don't think I like that much different,
They took
apparently.
6 video game soundtracks, condensed it into one,
It's a lot of
and
just...
they're all playing over each other.
It's kind of like that, except more sparse, but it's a lot of like bleeps and bloops and noises. Some of it is borderline atonal. I got like halfway through side 1 and I was trying to work, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't work with these noises. Like, I have to
like
stop.
back to Near Automata.
Yeah, exactly. I need to put something on that was at least more musical than that. I mean, I need to give it another go. Apparently, there's been an article written about it, about how great it is. I'm sure there must be something there. I just didn't find it in those first couple of tracks because it was rough.
Did you say there was a soundtrack to Oxenfree?
There is.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
From I Am 8-Bit. I actually bought that one a while ago. And that is one that tends to get played in the office a lot, just because it's real good, real moody, very good atmosphere kind of thing. A little creepy. But
skip those.
But yeah, it's so good though. I love, and it has a really great package on that one too, where there's sort of like the triangle in the sky. They have like it's like a see-through but like pearlescent kind of paper on the sleeve. So like when you put the various sleeves behind it in the jacket, like changes what you see through the window.
So it adds like the connections.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's more abstract because it's just sort of like various different colors behind it, but it's still pretty cool. So anyway, so that was the Vinyl Frontier.
Nice. Well, it's a good thing you stopped, Rob, because you just got yourself stuck in a graphic jam. Why are you laughing?
I don't know, but it's like, God, it hurts to laugh. Sorry, and also I was looking at the sort of helper schedule that you made us of like the sort of rundown. No, but there's an exclamation point on graphic jam, which I think is great. Because like Final Frontier, no punctuation. This is Final Frontier, but graphic jam.
No crash.
Oh no, there's no violent collision going on.
That's the crash. That exclamation point.
I like it. So tell me about the selection this week.
So this week is another week where I went out on a limb and I did something a little different than normal.
Hey, this is our show. You can do what you want.
Thank you. That's what I was saying. This is my damn section.
Seriously, you get to do what you want.
If I want to talk about that potty book from when we were kids, and I'm going to talk about
Everybody Poops?
Yeah. Then I'm going to talk about that potty book. But I'm not going to talk about it. I'm actually going to talk about the Holy Grail of style and sophistication, RuPaul's Working It. It's RuPaul's Guide to Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Style. Oh, here, you can look at it. Or you might want to show it first. Yeah. It's very beautiful. It's very pink. I like it very much. It's personally autographed to yours truly.
Yep.
And it says,
All my love, RuPaul.
I love Ru.
And on the back,
So
it
nice.
says, you better work.
You better work. You better work. So, the great thing about this book is, I mean, it's a style guide. It's basically beauty, makeup tips, life tips on how to be a better person. And this is where my limb comes out. This is where I'm going to stretch this topic. It's kind of like a beginner's guide to cosplay, honestly. So if you think about it in the nerdy way, it's basically all the tips you would need to be a really great cosplayer. how to accessorize, how to get your makeup done, how to be a nice cosplayer. So, really great book. I actually had it signed with Rue back in, I think, 2010, I believe, and it was really great. We got to chat about Judge Judy, his favorite. Talked about Fresno, and an episode of Judge Judy that happened to be centered around Fresno, and yeah, it was just a really good time. But what do you think? The pictures are great.
Yeah, it's full of really great shots.
Yeah.
Of Rue, and then
what does it say?
one nice thing that's actually really cool is that you know, I do feel like RuPaul's so good at, like, even though Drag Race obviously has like can have some harsh critiques, I feel like Rue just wants everybody to be the best they can be.
Yeah.
And so like there's something really positive about that, and I actually just happened to see this one section where it's about I'm guessing it's about personal styling or something. And there's a thing about eyebrows that I thought was kind of interesting. If you don't mind me going a little slow with it. It says, during the boy band craze of the mid-90s, it became very popular for straight men to pluck their own eyebrows. They call it grooming or shaping, but to everyone else, it's known as the hotness killer. Mainly because most guys followed their mother's example and plucked themselves beyond recognition, ending up like a cross between Pamela Anderson and Ming the Merciless. And so, it's kind of interesting that, like, it says you're just like, you know, taper the perimeter of your brow, just some helpful stuff here. It says, if you're unsure how to make your groomed brows look undone, explain the taper technique to a facialist and have them do your brows until you get the knack of doing it yourself. Personally, I love a natural brow on a man, unless his brows are crazy bushy, like Andy Rooney or Albert Einstein. Hell, I even think a unibrow is sexy. I think that's actually kind of cool to be able to, like, remind people also of, like, you can have a natural look.
Embrace your flaws.
Yeah.
Or what people would consider flaws that really aren't flaws.
Seriously, like you've taken like something that could be really like a kind of interesting
individuality.
Totally, and you're finding a way to make yourself look kind of weird, you know, by like over processing your own look. Yeah. And, I mean, obviously this was me reading a half a page, but I thought that was an interesting sort of thing, because like so often I feel like everyone wants to give you some sort of tip about how you can change something, and I think it's a really interesting tip to be like, don't change so fucking much.
Yeah. And I think if whoever does watch RuPaul's Drag Race, they do critique very harshly, but it's also just to kind of advance your own look rather than to change who you are.
Yeah.
They just want you to experience different sides of yourself. I think that's what they're trying to get at. And I actually watched this interview that RuPaul did with Oprah recently, and it was really good. It's on YouTube, it's an hour long, and it's totally worth it when you're doing your makeup in the morning like I do, and you have an hour to spare. And it's really just him talking about spirituality and what he's learned through life, and how on the show when he sees these queens struggling, the reason he's able to give such sound advice is because he sees himself through what happened to them is what has happened to him in the past, like growing up in New York and in San Diego and in Atlanta and all over the map, and just how you have to connect with people, and you have to kind of just give your best and give your all, and just be your best self. And yeah, so I think that's what Rue's trying to bring out in people, and it was a really good interview with Oprah, so I do recommend it. But also just to stand on my own little soapbox, because I may have discussed this before, but RuPaul is my own personal superhero. She is my Wonder Woman. Gal's great too, I love Gal. But RuPaul is like the OG for me, because basically RuPaul was my first role model to find out who I was. Like in 2000, I fell in love with this MAC ad called Mary Macmas, and it was like their winter collection. First time I bought makeup, first time, I mean, it was just kind of like an eye-opening experience that just basically helped me blossom to who I am. And you know, I've always been a fan. I watched the RuPaul show on VH1 in the 90s, and of course Supermodel was really hot in 1992.
Yeah.
And still to this day.
Give it a twirl.
Okay. And I'm trying to see what else, if I don't miss anything. Oh, and also, she is the original MAC girl for Viva Glam, for the Viva Glam campaign for MAC Cosmetics. So she was their first spokesperson. MAC was the first brand to bring a gender non-conforming person to represent their brand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the MAC campaign, or Viva Glam campaign, if you don't know what it is, it's 100% of the proceeds of the lipsticks under the Viva Glam branch go to the MAC AIDS Foundation.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
And to date, I mean, when I left MAC almost 10 years ago, we were well up into the closing in on 100 million mark.
Oh, Jesus.
So they've got, who knows, because they've had everybody now from Sia to everybody has been a MAC girl, like that's huge in like media. So it's a really great campaign. If you're gonna buy a lipstick, go buy a MAC Viva Glam lipstick. It gives back. So
that's awesome.
That's my little soapbox.
Well, I'm curious. Like, also, like, did you feel like maybe an affinity for Rue just because also he's so tall? Like, is that a thing where like did you see?
Well, like maybe I actually didn't know how tall Rue was because RuPaul and I are actually the same exact height. I'm 6'4", Rue's 6'4", and
without heels.
Yeah, that's without heels, both of us. And I didn't know how tall Rue was. I had already fallen in love with him. I remember when I was at UC Santa Barbara, that was kind of like the first time I really had a chance to explore my gender and sexuality, and it was in 2000, and I was a freshman, and I happened, because remember, what was that, Pandora? No, what was the one who on, not Mark Zuckerberg, but the other guy?
Sean.
Yeah, what was his company?
Oh God, Napster.
Napster.
Sean Parker?
Yes. So Napster was still hot.
Oh yeah.
Going on time?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And I was looking up dance songs, and RuPaul popped up. I started listening to him. Next day, I went to one of those used CD stores, bought all their RuPaul albums that they had. They had like, I think she had like 3 out at the time.
Well, Snapshot, still, that is like my RuPaul jam.
That is one of the best songs ever created.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I've been a fan ever since. And I could talk forever about this, but I'm going to shut up now. That's.
I'm always kind of curious because I mean, like, not to little mini sidebar.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, like growing up, I wanted to be a game show host.
Yeah. And
I feel like first off, I loved game shows, and I still do. But it was weird. I mean, I think one of the main reasons that sort of made me want to do it was there was one guy, the host of Family Feud in the late '80s / early '90s, Ray Combs.
Okay.
And so like just from looking at him, he was clearly like 5'4".
Yeah.
He was very short. And I don't know, it was funny, I think, and I was a child, so I mean, obviously I was not very tall.
No.
But I think I knew I wasn't going to be very tall. And I don't know, there's something about him that was very comforting to me, and that like, I saw some of myself in him, and like, I don't know, it was like, there was something about that, like him that really spoke to me. And of course he had a very tragic end. He killed himself shortly after Family Feud. I think he hanged himself.
Oh no.
But like, yeah, he had a sad ending to his story. But it's weird. I always sort of think of Ray Combs as this sort of like, I don't know. I guess it's funny. Similar to how I meant to actually mention this in the what we've been up to thing.
Yeah.
Which I can kind of come back to a little bit. But like similar to how Queer Eye, the original Queer Eye, showed that coexistence was possible and that gay people had worth. Yeah. To not just gay people. Yeah. Like, you know, gay people had worth even if it was just, you know, to restyle you, which I still feel is minimizing impact. That, I mean, financially we support so much shit. But like, it's nice to at least show that there's some sort of, you know, that like, we're not just, you know, defined by our sexuality. We actually have skills and can do things. Yeah. But I feel like, yeah, like seeing Ray Combs, I was like, oh look, you know, it's like a short person is like running a show and he's a big deal and all these things. And so it could have been that. You're like, I'm a short person. I could run a show. I could totally do that. But anyways, yeah. And now you are. And we're here right now. But it's funny also, so yeah, on the Queer Eye thing, Todd and I started watching the new Queer Eye on Netflix. Oh, I hear it's very moving. Well, it's everyone I know loves it, and Todd and I just can't get into it.
I was in the other room listening to Stephen watch one, and I was just like, it just sounds like a bunch of people screaming the entire time.
Well, and that's actually, it is funny, because a lot of the posts I'm seeing of it are like with the captions on, where it just says, like, in brackets, screaming, or they're all screaming, like, and it's so weird, because, like, I didn't watch the original, so I don't really have that much of an opinion about the original, except that Cayenne was, like, super hot.
It was good.
Well, and a lot of people really liked it. I never watched it. I don't know if I didn't have Bravo at the time, or if I was just like, I don't need a show like that right now.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch it, and then, but yeah, I started watching the new one just because, like, everyone I know is talking about how moving it is and how much, like, they're in tears at the end of every episode, and how this is exactly the show we needed right now. And so far, I don't like it very much. Just, like, it's weird. I feel like, especially when they first go into, like, the person they're helping's apartment or house, they kind of just, like, ransack the joint, and, like, which is fine.
No.
Well, and, like, it's almost like unleashing a bunch of toddlers in a house. Like, they just go and find stuff they think is fun, and, like, you know, one guy is, like, going through the cabinet being like, oh, this food is terrible for you, and, like, another person's just like, plaid, you own so much plaid, and it's all going away, and it's like, but this is who this person is.
Yeah.
Like, you can dress them up once, but, like, you're not going to change how they feel, like, about what their aesthetic is. Like, if someone raided my closet, they'd be like, oh, fuck, this guy has nothing but baseball tees.
Yeah.
From there, though, you should extrapolate that clearly I like baseball tees. Get me in the best ones that you can, and some new things. But if you throw away 100% of my baseball tees, that bums me out, and I have to go buy new ones.
Yeah.
And so, like, I bet, yeah, and, like, they're the type to, like, grab a blanket, like, and put it over their head and, like, take on a character for, like, 20 seconds, walking around the house in this character, and it's just like, first off, you guys aren't getting any work done. You're just kind of making a bunch of noise, and you look like you're just making fun of this person now. I don't know, because they're not mean-spirited, but, like, I can't help but, like, just sort of be, like, detached, being like, if someone walked into my apartment and grabbed my stuff and just draped it across them and started making fun of me for having it, I'd be a little upset.
I think you sign up for that when you're on that show.
Well, and all these people have, like, yeah, they've been heavily vetted, they've gone through a ton of interviews, like, they know what they're in for. It's not like this is a surprise.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, there's something about it that doesn't totally work for me.
You feel it's pretty fake, too, or
well,
it's all staged?
Well, I mean, the whole, you know, all reality is very, very, you know,
like, they're not actually
pre-worked.
helping him, they're just creating a show out of him.
But, like, you know, like, even, like, what, the grooming guy, he's, like, they show him doing stuff. You know, like cutting their hair and shaping their beards and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the home decor guy.
Oh, they're always the best.
Oh, like seriously, like I wonder what the budget is. I mean, I imagine a lot of the stuff is supplied by, you know, various furniture companies as like a thing to get their stuff on the show.
Yeah.
But holy shit, like these home overhauls look expensive. So that's really cool. Like the guy who redresses them, I think he makes some good choices. Personally though, based on how he looks, I wouldn't want him dressing me. He dresses very, very, very loud, which is not who I am. But like, I do think he's doing the best he can to maximize these people. The two I always have the hard time with are food and wine and culture. Food and wine guy, like, he teaches them how to make one thing. Like, oh, he taught one guy how to make guacamole, he taught one guy how to make a grilled cheese. He's not making these people totally self-sufficient. That's fine. And then culture guy...
He's kind of worthless.
Well, in culture guy, you can't teach culture in a week. Like, you can't make somebody care about something.
Put a book on your head and walk in a straight line.
Seriously, like, the nice thing is, to be honest, like, I think one of the biggest things that the show could have done was, and Todd and I were talking about this, like, because the guy who is the culture guy, whose name I don't know, unfortunately, starts with a K, but he's almost more of a therapist than anything else. Like, he's talking to them and reminding them that they have worth and that they need to be confident in who they are, and like that them being who they are is actually the most attractive quality they could have, and how like, and it was actually this really great sort of positivity moment, and they should just dump the culture name and just consider him a life coach, because I actually think that what he's offering is really valuable. And the one thing that actually would have given the show a lot of credibility is if they literally just brought in a counselor or a therapist, and that's the fifth guy. Like, just, hey, you know what? you're going through a lot of changes right now because 4 people are changing a lot of your life. Let me help you through this.
So let me help you mentally prepare for it.
Totally. Like, to make this a bigger change. Not just, oh, we dressed you up for a week and now we're leaving you on your own to go right back into old habits. Like, this is a thing that's like the beginning of a big change. And so, I don't know, I thought that it would be interesting if that's the case. And yeah, a lot of people I know really, really like it. And it's not speaking to me. I don't know if I'm just a monster or if...
No, I think you make a lot of valid points. I mean, they are loud. From what I heard, I could hear them in the other room just like, it's like a bunch of hens in a hen house. But apparently, like, I guess it's emotional to some people. I don't know. I feel like...
Well, they end up emotional by the time it's done. The show's heart's in the right place. It just starts real weird every single episode.
The first Queer Eye was the same thing from what you're telling me. Everybody's, like, I've talked to said it's so different than the original, but by what you're saying, it sounds like the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, as someone who never saw the original, I have no basis for comparison.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it could just, I mean, also, like, a lot of my friends are tight with some people who work in development at Netflix, so maybe some of their posts on Facebook are just because they want to say nice things about the work their friends are doing.
Oh, yeah.
It could be, but I mean, to be honest though, everyone does seem to be genuinely really excited about it, so I feel like I need to give it more. I've only watched 2 episodes. I think Todd's watched more, and I think he still might be Mr. Heart of Stone, so I don't know. We'll get there, maybe. It's a fine background show. It's no great, you know...
Todd's over the nonsense.
Yeah, it's no British Bake Off.
Well...
But what is?
What is?
Nothing, I'll tell you that.
Nothing.
So we still have we have some good time. We have like 23 minutes left on this tape.
Okay.
Before we are out of stuff. I have quite a bit of news, but I can do it real fast.
And I just have one piece.
All right. Should I get started on news and we cover your stuff in?
Yep.
Sorry, I feel like I'm on Mr. Motormouth all the time.
Go for it.
So, just today, in my feed, I noticed that there's a Mario encyclopedia coming out in October from Dark Horse. October 23rd. It looks similar to like the those really great like lore books and encyclopedias that they made for The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine it's very similar.
It's kind of cool that like Nintendo has enough like 3 decade-long franchises that they can do like a massive like 200-something page book.
Yeah. About
like the evolution of the character and the games and you know the lore behind it. I wonder if they'll talk about how Mario has nipples now.
Or how Birdo keeps changing.
Totally, like
sex.
Yeah, like the Birdo gender thing is really interesting, and like you know, right now I've noticed there's a lot of conversation also about whether or not Toad's thing is a hat or an extension of his head. And apparently it's not a hat. I think is what the verdict was. I don't know. I don't read those articles very much, but
I remember in the cartoon. I feel like it came off.
Yeah, in the cartoon it was a hat.
Like a hat.
Yeah. And so I think now they're saying it may not be.
Explaining to do.
Yeah, well. And then also today, I don't know if it's going to get archived, but if it does get archived, you should go look at it. I felt bad actually while you were streaming Uncharted today. I posted something to our Twitter that was a little bit of counter programming to your stream. I was giving you a little bit of competition because on the Play Overwatch channel on Twitch.
Yeah.
They, for the Year of the Dog Lunar New Year celebration, they were having a Blizzard puppy rumble.
Oh, I saw that.
It was adorable. I had it on for about 2 hours while I did other stuff in the house. I just wanted to see these dogs. It was a bunch of puppies, all rescues, and they were all adopted by the end of the night, or by the end of the show.
Okay.
They're all wearing various costumes. Like they're wearing character costumes.
Oh my god.
Like they're basically your normal dog get up, so it's like, you know, just kind of little pieces, nothing big coming off of it.
Yeah.
But they all had different things, and like the goal was to capture the flag, which is the special game mode that is here for Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
And the flag was a bone with a flag attached to it, so they were trying to get them to take the bone and move it. And most of the time they just fight with each other. Just like a real game of Overwatch. Yeah. Nobody does the objective, everyone just fights with each other.
Yeah.
It was so cute, and like the commentators were doing like legit commentating, as if it was like a league match, well, Symmetra needs to get in there because right now, I mean, it's a 3-on-1 battle. The rest of the team is completely absent. Oh, Sombra's starting the hack. Like, they kept just saying all these things of, like, all these different characters as if they were doing stuff. It's like, oh, well, Roadhog's been sitting on his ult for quite a while. I don't know why he's not doing anything with that. Like, they just kept commentating.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
And the MVP was a Chihuahua mix named Lulu, who was dressed as Symmetra.
Oh, your favorite.
Which they
that's Travis's favorite.
Yeah, which they kept talking about how Lulu picking Symmetra was a risky move, but in the end it paid off.
Hey, she's quite the deceiver.
Yeah, it was super cute. The whole thing was very, very awesome. So anyway, yeah, the Blizzard Puppy Rumble was a thing, and I have since tweeted about how I want those costumes for Braddock.
Oh, well, they might make them now. If there's enough people like chime in on that, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, everyone needs to retweet my tweet because I want them to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is your bit of news?
Okay.
Because I have one bit of news that seems like it should come from you. So actually, I might even give you my phone if this is not.
No, you just read it. But you want me to? I'll do mine first.
Do yours.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read it. New pickup artist video game teaches men to be creeps.
All right then.
So apparently there's a new pickup artist game, and it is basically for you to hit on women and try to get them nice and ready for you. It says the game consists of a series of video clips where a man attempts to hit on a woman. At key points, the player can choose what the man in the video says to see different results, kind of like Choose Your Own Adventure book. The goal of the game, which claims it delves into hundreds of hidden secrets that separate seduction masters from everybody else, is to teach guys how to get a woman's phone number or otherwise seduce her. And it comes out on Steam on March 6th. Sounds very pervy.
Yeah, well, there was that book, The Game, or, it's like Confessions of the Pickup Artist.
He's involved in it.
Shocker.
Yeah. And like if you click on a link, it goes straight to his find my book page. Yeah.
As I sold that book back in the day when I worked in bookstores.
God, you should have never sold it. You should have said, I'm sorry, I can't sell it.
Unfortunately, I also had to sell books by Sean Hannity and Ann Coulter, but you just sort of...
Did you ever say, why are you reading this?
No, you just sort of roll your eyes at them
after
they... Yeah, you roll your eyes on them after they leave. It is what it is. Or you just take confidence that a lot of people buying those books are actually never going to read them because they probably
Or maybe it's like a gag gift.
That could be.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It's like, oh, the irony. Just have fun. Yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
My next bit of news, and this is the thing that I feel should have come from you, there is now a Tomb Raider Barbie.
Shut it down. To go with my Chloe?
She could raid some tombs with Chloe.
Oh my God,
So yes, according to Kotaku, Barbie has had many jobs over the years. Raiding tombs and shanking dudes with axes is now being added to the list. Mattel is releasing a new doll based on the upcoming movie that comes out in 3 weeks. They say while her clothes are a bit more cleaner and stylized than we'll see in the film, her look does include bandages, an axe, and a map. And apparently it goes on sale tomorrow, so yesterday for anyone listening on release date of this. So there will be a movie tie-in version of Tomb Raider in the Barbie universe.
That's so cool.
So that I thought was interesting.
I want it. And then I could have her and Chloe make out.
Yeah.
Oh, they could play house together. So exciting. To the Batcave. Okay.
So what else is, so next on my news, this is funny because I like comparing Apple employees to birds. All I'm going to do is give you the headline on this because it's really funny. Apple employees keep walking into their new headquarters glass walls. Apparently the new thing, it's like a sort of...
Oh my gosh, they need to put those stickers up.
It's a glass wall-filled space meant to encourage collaboration and cooperation, but a lot of people who work there keep walking into the walls.
It happens all the time too.
So,
especially on set when people close glass doors.
Oh yeah.
They're not used to it.
It was like Todd and I watch fail videos every week, and there was a... Is it raining?
No, it's just...
Oh, just windy. There was a really great video. We saw the dog running full speed through a sliding glass door. The dog was fine. The door is not.
The door is done.
Yeah, the door is over. Anyway, so that was a fun little just brief little aside there.
So cute.
So a little bit of bummer news, and it is a thing that just reminds you of the risk you take when you are working in a crowdsourced, crowdfunding kind of game. Unfortunately, the fan-funded remake of System Shock is currently on hold. Which the developers promise that it will be finished, it will be coming back. Right now they're pausing to sort of reevaluate the direction and make sure that they're doing the right thing, so they're just kind of putting it on pause. Time will tell how this works out. My fingers are crossed that it'll come out and be awesome. But
I never played the original, so.
Nor did I. That's why I want this thing to happen. So as a follow-up to something you said 2 weeks ago, Guguri has been signed to the Shanghai Dragons for Overwatch League.
Yay, lady.
Which is, super exciting. First professional lady Overwatch League player, which is awesome.
Nice.
Little bit of a bummer though, her and I guess some other new people, because I think they're trying to do trades and just trying to bring new people. They're being delayed visa clearances.
Oh, bullshit.
So that's a bummer, but hopefully it won't be too long of a delay. But
not in Trump's America.
I'm so excited to see Guguri though join the scene. That'll be fun.
Well, speaking of Overwatch League, are you going
to go for it?
In first place, New York Excelsior. I always say it wrong.
Oh yeah, because
is it number 1?
It's right before my party. I actually watched the playoffs at the end of stage 1.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, it was exciting because Houston could have technically won if they'd won 3 games in a row that day.
And they're in second.
They did real good.
Well, what are you going to do? Such is life. Someone's got to lose.
Continue the standings. Sorry.
2 is Houston Outlaws.
Woo!
3 is the London Spitfire. 4 is our LA Valiant.
Yeah.
5 is the Seoul Dynasty. 6 Boston Uprising. 7 Philadelphia Fusion. 8 Los Angeles Gladiators. 9 San Francisco Shock. 10 Dallas Fuel. 11 Florida Mayhem. And again in 12th
Shanghai Dragons.
Dead last. Good thing we have a lady going in there to
seriously, and really she's one of the best Zarya players in the world.
bust some dust.
So let's get her in there.
Yeah, they haven't won 1 game, have they?
I don't think they did.
Yeah, win 0, 10 losses.
But
wah, wah.
Hey, there's always stage 2. The season is still happening. Because there's 5 stages. So
I know. We've got a ways to go.
We got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stage 1 is over. Stage 2, I believe, starts this week.
Nice. Yes, it does.
So another little bit of news. I don't know if I'm gonna take advantage of this, but it's out there. Evil Within 2 has a first-person mode. There was a patch that just recently came out.
No thanks.
Because some people found some stuff in the I think in the PC version, and they kind of tweaked it or whatever, and like enabled this first-person mode, and the online community got really excited about it.
Camera to the back of his head.
And so, yeah, like now there is a first-person mode available for consoles. I don't know if I'll use that or not. I think I like that game as a third-person thing.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me.
Well, speaking of scaring the shit out of people, hopefully this will be a thing. Chris Columbus, the director who did Home Alone, Harry Potter 1 and 2, some classics.
Yeah.
He also did Pixels.
Ew.
He is attached to write and direct the film adaptation of the horror game Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh wow. There's actually going to be a movie?
I guess so. I'm curious.
Is it going to be like demonic toys?
I mean, are you familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so I imagine it's got to be about killer animatronics in a pizza joint, I would assume.
But
I don't know.
Here's the thing. It's more of a kid's game, though. So
Five
they
Nights
have
at
to make
Freddy's
it kid-friendly.
Well, I feel like that game wasn't really a kid game because it was so scary.
The kids adopted it, though.
The kids did.
They
didn't start that way.
I mean, it's a hot topic on every keychain.
Oh yeah, and they made all the stuffed animals and stuff.
Yeah, it's this huge license thing. I think it's going to be very kid-friendly.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna reserve judgments, but I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So
could be cute.
Anyway, that's the last of my news.
Is it time for the crush?
Crush.
Of the week.
Crush.
Oh, crush.
Yes, it is.
I'll go first.
Please.
My crush of the week is Jonas from OXENFREE.
Ah.
I love him.
Is he the one in the beanie?
Yeah.
Oh, look at, and I'm totally like channeling my inner Jonas today. It's fucking cold, which is why I'm wearing the beanie.
It's
like,
cold.
just
especially for LA. We're almost in the 40s today.
Seriously,
that's cold for us.
When I woke up today to get my smog checked, I could hear the wind, and I was like, "Well, I wonder how cold it is," because I was about to get dressed.
It's just me whistling in your ear.
Oh yeah, you always were. But yeah, like I was curious how cold it could actually be because it's windy, and I didn't know if I needed to wear shorts or pants. And so like I asked.
Wear a skort.
I need to get more skirts in my life.
I think so.
And so I asked.
Lots of pants.
Seriously, like what, like Janet Jackson style?
Yeah.
So like I asked Alexa what the weather was, and she was like, "Oh, it's currently 57, with a high of 58." And when the high of the day is nearly happening at like 1:30 p.m., you know the day is fucking cold.
Frozen.
Like when it's that cold of a day and it's like that close to the high, it's like, oof, man, today's gonna suck.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's the kind of day where I'm wearing a beanie. It's cold. I'm also
it's
a
cold.
total
I was
wuss.
wearing a very big, fluffy, what are they called? Robe before you came over too.
Well, I was living in sweatpants and my bear paw slippers because it is cold. We turned the heater on in our apartment.
Yeah, my nose is frozen right now.
Tub's under a blanket most of the day.
Really?
Yeah, we both don't. Well, like, it's because Todd hates the summer and he hates the heat. And he's been really upset about the sort of like heat wave we've had through most of January.
Yeah.
And it's technically still winter, so like yeah, now it's cold. It's fucking bullshit. I hate it. Like as someone who was born and raised in 2 different deserts, I'm really not okay with the cold.
Yeah, we are technically in the desert still.
Yeah. Well, born and raised in 2 deserts and then moved into a 3rd one.
Yeah. The colder one.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Southern
California
California
kid.
kid.
It's really
though.
cool at night though.
Oh, it does, especially in Palmdale in the high desert.
Yeah.
It gets real cold. I remember like walking to the bus every day to go to school, and there was always frost on all the lawns, and usually the water in the gutters the water in the gutters was usually frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot to say why I like him.
Oh yeah, sorry. More.
He has a cute voice.
Yes.
He is a bad boy gone good.
Ooh.
And he is the klepto of my heart.
Oh.
Happy Valentine's Day. Your turn.
No, I'm glad. I'm so glad you played Oxenfree and that you like were as taken by it as I hoped you would be.
Yeah, it was a good game.
And you know, note to all the friends of mine out there that have not played Oxenfree yet, like, what the hell, dude? Seriously, like, I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's like super cheap.
And John, you need to finish it.
It's like a Starbucks coffee cheap.
Seriously, and John, you've been in the middle of it for too long now.
Yeah.
Please just finish it.
Just go, John.
Yeah.
Come on, John.
Yeah, come on, John.
Come on, John.
It's time.
John.
And that was a moment where we talked directly to one listener.
But it's John.
It is. And my crush is a little bit older than your crush. It is Michael from Grand Theft Auto 5.
Ooh, okay.
Like, I always talk about, like, whenever I talk about Grand Theft Auto 5, I always talk about how poorly written Franklin is as a character. He was clearly written by, like, what feels like a 24-year-old white guy. And really bums me out because I feel like Franklin's really poorly written. But then you get to meet Michael, who is a middle-aged dude with, like, a super shitty family, and he's thought he's done with his life of crime, and he's kind of found his way back into it before Trevor, who's, like, just comic relief crazy, shows up.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Michael, I liked that he was unfortunately, like, he has a terrible family, but he's still kind of a family-ish man. He's kind of caught in 2 different worlds, and, he's kind of a daddy kind of character, and he's kind of hot. Like, there's something about him that is very, like, I approve. I don't know. There's something about him that just...
Yeah, he's...
Yeah. He excites me a bit.
A mafia daddy.
Yeah. It is funny and kind of gross, though, like, if you run with him for a long time, I think back sweat shows up through his shirts. Like...
it's real.
Yeah. Well, and also, like...
Back sweat is real.
I love that I can have him running around in, like, an Aloha shirt and shorts, like, and he looks like he kind of belongs in that Tommy Bahama look. I don't know, there's something about him. But yeah. And now people just learned about a weird sort of thing that I'm into, I guess. I like Michael from GTA 5. I don't feel great about it, but I feel good enough about it to talk about it.
Hey, Michael.
So, anywho, yeah, that is my crush of the week. Crush.
You crushed it. Good for you.
Thank you.
Oh, and for those of you watching the video footage, This is my doll of Chloe that was originally a Barbie doll, but Keith, my old roommate who left me,
he abandoned,
has dressed into Chloe Fraser for my birthday.
Does she still have her treasure of an earring?
Yes, she does. It's not an earring, it opens the Lost City.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
God.
Can an earring open the Lost City?
It's not an earring, it's a lost artifact.
Okay, I'm sorry.
God.
I was
it
never good
the
at
light. It opens the door.
I was never good at make-believe.
How dare you?
I'm terrible at playing along. I will keep referring to it as the lost artifact as an earring.
It's plastic. It's not real. I can't really talk.
It's an earring.
No, it opens the Lost City.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, you can follow me at Cetine the Dream on Instagram and Twitter, and at Cetine on Twitch.
And you can follow me at Fast Danger on Twitter or at Mr. Gladstone on Instagram and Twitch. Mr. is spelled out.
Yeah. And you can follow the podcast at BitDivPodcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Or you can send us an email at bitdivpodcast@gmail.com.
And you can now follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/BitDivPodcast.
Yes.
We have new episodes every Wednesday that we actually record.
And YouTube videos are going up every Thursday.
Yeah. Please rate, follow, and comment in iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube.
Yeah.
That was different because
It was different.
I don't know. About
Yeah, I feel like I should get that one
weird.
back. Cause I was like doing my Bioshock joke with the "Would you kindly."
Would you kindly?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you not realize I've been making a Bioshock reference for the last year?
No.
Yeah. Would you kindly follow, rate, and comment?
I just thought you were very.
I'm not that polite.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I also, fun fact, I also put, this is a little rando thing, just in the last little minute we have here.
Yeah.
So I got to write on Plants vs. Zombies Adventures. I wrote on Plants vs. Zombies 2, but then I also got to write on Plants vs. Zombies Adventures, which was a free-to-play Facebook integration game.
Okay.
And it was fun, because it was basically Plants vs. Zombies on Facebook with a little bit of a different play style to it, and you built up a town. And you get to grow your own plants that you then were able to plant for the actual combat rounds.
Okay, yeah.
But you had to grow your own
You had to cultivate
warrior.
that.
Yeah, cultivate your own warriors.
Yeah.
And it took real time and often real money if you wanted to pay for that. But it was fun though, because when you clicked on a person, they would have a little text bubble with something they were saying, or and also you had to get lumber and stuff. From trees to build things, and when you clicked on a tree, it would usually make they wanted the brief on that one was they wanted the trees to make some sort of pun. So it was a leaf pun or some sort of normal tree, oh, my roots are in this town kind of thing of or my bark is worse than my bite, that kind of shit.
I got you.
And I actually made one of their options of when they talk was "Would you kindly."
Would you kindly?
Which was a fun little just thing for anyone who happened to click on a tree enough to get a Bioshock joke out of it. No one, there were no think pieces or articles written about it. That was a joke basically just for me, I'm assuming at this point.
Yeah.
Because no one cared.
Because that's an actual saying people say.
But yeah, in a video game world, Would You Kindly has kind of been co-opted by Bioshock. And that game is gone now forever, by the way. You cannot play it. They shut it down.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I do have a screenshot of a tree saying "Would you kindly?"
That's cute. You should post it on the Instagram.
I have no idea where it is.
Or send it to me.
But if I ever find it, I will post it somewhere.
Sounds cute.
Yeah.
Would you kindly?
Would you kindly?
Would you kindly say goodnight?
Sure.
Okay. And chowsies.
Bye-bye.
And chowsies.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you all?
Good.
Still
Okay, I
filming?
gotta turn that off.
Yeah, still rolling.